All right, welcome to the show. We have Nolan Gottlieb.
Gottlieb.
Got it right. But yes. Yeah. So Nolan, tell us, like the people, let us know a little bit about who you are and what you do to start off.
Gotcha. Well, I am a real estate agent and real estate investor in Northeast Georgia. But my story goes back way further than that. So I did not intend to have a career in real estate. Let me back up just a little bit for you. So I was born with a disease called cystic fibrosis, which is it's a lung disease, and it's a genetic disease. So I've had it since I was very, very young. And I played sports and played basketball, and my dream was to play college basketball with this, having cystic fibrosis. Well, I played, I did my thing. I ended up being able to play basketball, NCAA Division II basketball, and got into education, and I was a teacher. However, because I had cystic fibrosis, I could not stay well in a classroom full of 30 kids that were always coming to school sick. So a very long story short, after several years of teaching, I just couldn't stay well enough and ended up having to get listed for a double lung transplant.
Wow.
So I enjoyed teaching. I was a 8th grade science teacher and really enjoyed it. Worked at a great place. But whenever I got listed, I was 17 months waiting on a lung transplant. And then when I got the lung transplant, my life completely changed. Like, my health was great. I've never felt better in my entire life, but I couldn't go back to teaching. So because of, the immunosuppressants and all that kind of stuff. And, I didn't want to surround myself with sick kids that, might compromise my new lungs.
Right.
So I had a friend that was a real estate agent at the time and said, "Hey, have you considered getting into real estate?" And I was like, "Not really. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know what a mortgage is. Like, I have no clue whatsoever about real estate." But because, I'm willing to try it, I'm looking for something new where I can kind of set my own hours and choose who I'm going to be around and that kind of thing. I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Well, I got into it and realized that I really, really, really enjoyed it. Right. It took a while to get my footing and, understand what I was doing, but I really enjoyed it.
Did you know of bigger pockets before you got your real estate license?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. And I'm getting there. So after being an agent for, I don't know, almost a year, I started realizing that being an agent's nice and commissions are nice, but if something were to happen and I could not work, well, the commission, the income stops. Right? So I was like, all right, I got to figure out something here. Like, I got to figure out what I'm going to do if things go south and if I'm back in the same position where I was several years ago. So I had shown a few houses to investors, and, when they're talking about offering cash, in my mind at the time, I'm thinking, how in the world does somebody offer $100,000 cash for this house and this house? And I'm like, I just don't understand it. And about that time, somebody, I was asking around and was like, hey, what are some good resources for real estate? And about that time, they said, hey, you ought to listen to Bigger Pockets. So it was probably, I don't remember what the first episode was, but after the first episode that I listened to, I was like, oh, that's it.
It clicked.
That's what I'm going to do. So I felt like I had an insider's, almost like insider trading info that nobody else had, because I'd been a real estate agent for a year. I knew the market. I knew my way around. So it kind of came naturally. So I, went in and found a property and got everything ready. And so, whenever something did arise that I knew would fit my numbers and all that kind of stuff, I was ready for it when it happened.
Right.
I was super nervous, and, in my head, I knew that it was supposed to work out, but until you actually do it once, it was kind of theoretical. But after jumping into it and getting going, it's like, this is it.
It's kind of like the people before they buy property and they keep thinking about, what if this happened? What if that happened? It's kind of like they want to know every single thing, and they haven't even bought the deal yet. So
That's
like
right.
you said, you were probably nervous before the first deal, but now you look at a house, right off the bat, oh, that's a good deal. let's
Oh,
act fast. You're confident now.
for sure. The confidence after that first deal, and I wouldn't even say after the first deal, like during the first deal, once you actually do it and know there's no turning back, your confidence grows.
Right.
It's amazing how that works, but you know.
All right. So let's take it from all the way to the back. Let's see, like, how was your childhood? You said you had this what was it, lung?
Yeah, cystic fibrosis. Yeah.
Yes. So like growing up as a kid, like were your family talking about, you know, real estate growing up? Like how was your childhood life?
No, it did not revolve around real estate whatsoever. My parents owned a house. I mean, we had a house and they had their monthly mortgage and all that kind of stuff. But I had no idea what any of that was. I didn't know, you know, I had no idea how much they paid. You know, I didn't know. I had, if you would have asked me how much is your house worth, I would have had no clue. I mean, I just could not have come up with an answer. So it was not on my radar whatsoever. And even into adulthood, it was not on my radar. I didn't know anything about it.
But was your parents like, did they have a 9-to-5 job, or were they?
Yeah. So my dad worked for the state in the Department of Corrections, and my mom was a teacher. So yeah, they both worked, and just normal old blue collar family.
Yeah, dang, that's crazy. So that's great, because you don't have no kind of like inside look at what it's like. Most of my guests, their parents own a little convenience store, they own a laundromat, so they would witness their parents, you know, doing some type of entrepreneur small business.
No, not at all. My world was sports.
Sports.
It really was. It was whatever I got to do to play college basketball. That's what I'm going to do.
All right.
That was it. Period.
All right. So tell us, all right, as far as you get in high school, you're playing sports. Are you like an A student? What was your GPA in high school?
Gosh, I have no idea. It was C's and B's probably.
C's and B's. Okay. The average millionaire is, I think, a GPA like a 2.7. Dave Ramsey, you know, guessed that's what the average GPA of millionaires is, around a 2.7, you know, 2.8. So I always ask people their GPA.
Well, then that fares well for me then.
Nah, it makes sense though, because most, I'm not a millionaire, but it seems like most millionaires are, you know, in high school, you got general studies. So that means you got to study all subjects. But, you know, after you figure out your passion and purpose, we go one direction. Like, you know, once I figure out like I like or love real estate, I'm all in. There's no like real estate, stocks. Like I still ain't got the stocks. Like a lot of my friends in stocks right now, but I actually enjoy doing real estate, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree. I was having a conversation probably with my wife and a couple of friends. I don't remember the exact context of the conversation, but it was basically it was, you know, what would you do if you could do whatever, you know, money wasn't an issue or whatever it was. And I can't remember exactly details, but I do remember thinking, oh, I'd be doing exactly what I'm doing right now, period. Yeah. This is fun for me. This is what I was supposed to be doing from the very beginning, but you know.
Yeah. So, all right. So take us out the high school. Do you get a basketball scholarship? What's next?
So I actually walked on. I played at a small private school in Middle Georgia. Basketball was not a priority. You know, Middle Georgia's football country.
Okay.
And basketball at a small private school, it was just, you know, it was just a dream, really.
Right.
But for some reason, I just had it in my mind that that's what I wanted to do. I don't know if it had to do with, you know, being the kid that growing up with CF, that, you know, the odds were stacked against me or what it was. But yeah, it was, my goals were to play basketball. So I walked on the JV team at Anderson College. At that time, it's Anderson University, but Anderson College in South Carolina. I walked on the JV team and was the varsity manager. Okay. And because, you know, look, I'm on the team. I've got a uniform. I'm getting the sweats. Like, I got the gear. Like, I'm there.
Yeah.
But after a couple years on JV and being the varsity manager, so I was going to my JV practices, varsity practices, JV workout, varsity workout, conditioning, all that kind of stuff. You know, I picked up things. I was like around it enough where I was like, oh, okay, well, that's how you're supposed to do your cuts to get open. And so I would start learning. I would start building my repertoire. And then eventually it was like, you know, I'm in the right place at the right time, a 6 a.m. call or a 6 a.m. Practice. And one of the guys on the varsity team got kicked out of the gym, and I was sitting there on the sideline. And they said, hey, you want to fill in? I was sure. So I was on varsity from that point on. That was my junior year. And then my senior year, somebody left school for something, and then I got their scholarship.
Wow.
So by my last semester, I was on scholarship. Yeah.
And you know what I get like from that whole conversation? Just show up. Just show up. Just show up. Because if you show up, like even like, you know how before the show we was talking about the mailman, you know, it's you taking like a 1% chance on knocking on somebody's door and they actually want to sell the house. The odds are against you. But if you just show up, like I say, like my second auction I went to, you know, luckily only like maybe like 4, like it may be 10 people there, but only 3 to 4 people that were there to bid. So I ended up getting the house, like nobody, you know, showed up. You just show up, you know, because you never know what the outcome could be from that story, it seemed like, you know?
Yeah, you're exactly right. So most of my investing success, you know, you might be getting to this eventually, but I've got just closed on unit number 19.
Wow.
Since December 2020. So 10 months, something like that. I've just closed on number 19, and all of them were just being at the right place at the right time, showing up.
Wow. So that is crazy. So in 10 months, 19 units. All right. What does this 19 units look like? Like, what does your portfolio look like?
Right. So the first deal was a triplex.
Okay.
All right. So it was on market and it was listed for like 125. And it was actually a fourplex. So it was that. So let me back up. So it was actually part of a bigger deal that had 2 single family houses in this triplex on it, or 3 single family houses and a triplex.
Okay.
And they had it listed and it was, you know, too high. And for whatever reason, nobody wanted that particular deal package. It was like listed at $399 and whatever. So the listing agent talked the seller into splitting the properties up so that the 3 single families would go themselves and the fourplex would be by itself.
Gotcha.
So the fourplex at 125. Now, because I had, you know, done the work and listened to the podcast and, you know, knew the market, I was like, as soon as that popped up, I was like, I got to see it. You know, that's, you know, there's value add there. I knew the area, like I knew exactly where that property was. So I called the agent and said, hey, how do I get in this house to check it out? And he said, well, the owner's there showing some other folks around. And mind you, this was probably 10 minutes after the listing got updated. So he said, well, the owner's there showing a few people around. You can go by and just get in with them. So I went, and by the time I got there were probably 5 other investors and the owner walking folks around. Now, it was in bad shape, but I knew what I was looking at. So I kind of backed out of the tour and went and called the agent and said, hey, what do I have to do to get this under contract?
Smart.
Now, let me tell you this. I did not have money for this. When I did that, when I said, how do I get this under contract? I did not have money for it. So I'd had some conversations with some folks that said, hey, I'd be interested in investing. If you can find a deal, let's do it. So I called those people and told them what it was. And I told them, you know, this will be a buy and hold. We'll rehab it. We'll rent it out. We'll refinance it. You know, we'll burr it. And they're like, no, we want to make some quick money, like on a flip. And I was like, oh. So I was like, how about this? Get it under contract using your proof of funds and give me until the end of due diligence to find financing on my own. Okay. So they did that. We had a 7-day due diligence. And by day 5, I had found a partner, you know, that I've known since college. We came up with the down payment. We used a hard money lender and we got the deal. We closed.
Wow. So wait, all right. This is risk at its all out, right? So what type of neighborhood would you say this in?
So it's along an interstate corridor in Northeast Georgia, probably about an hour and a half from Atlanta. And, you know, Atlanta is sprawling big time, right? So, you know, every little town along interstate is blowing up. Well, our county has had probably 4 massive companies come in and build distribution warehouses along that interstate because, you know, it's perfect for shipping like to the Southeast. So, you know, the town is jobs are like coming in by the thousands and nobody's got places to live. And you know, there's not a single rental vacancy in the whole town. So currently the town is probably a B to C area.
Okay. That's not bad for $125,000 fourplex, you know, in what year? We in 2021, when they said the prices, you know, well, I'm in Florida, so the prices
Yep.
are steady going up.
Yep.
So that sounds like I thought you was maybe in like the slums.
No, it's a regular just blue collar town, and you know, a lot of big industry coming in, and there's not a single rental vacancy in the town.
Wow. So, all right, this is perfect for the people who are still on the fence about, you know, getting into real estate, because, all right, this is your first deal. All right, the day you close, all right, you got the keys. All right, what's next? Because it's a million things you got to do. You got a fourplex, it needs a lot of work. What did you say you need to do? What was your thought?
Okay, so the day I closed, let me think back. The day I closed, I was super excited, taking pictures with the closing folder and everything. And it was like, okay, well, when do we get started? And at the time, I thought I was going to fix up. There were 2 tenants in there currently, and they were way like a third of what market rent is, but the place was a dump.
Right.
So I was thinking, all right, well, we're going to have time to fix up upstairs, because it was, 2 units on the bottom, 2 units on the top. I was like, we'll fix up upstairs, and then whenever we get done with that and they move out, then we'll fix up theirs. Well, instantly one person left. So I've got 1 tenant at way below market rent,
and 3 vacant units,
and then 3 vacant units that were terrible. One of the tenants like smoked 4 packs a day, and I think I might have pictures on Facebook or Instagram or something that shows like the windows were just covered with like smut. I don't know what, it was just disgusting.
Right.
So I'm thinking, all right, well, we've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So I started lining up folks to come in. The property was built like in 1906 or something. So we're gonna have to get the entire place rewired.
What was your initial, because I know you went over budget, you don't have to tell me, but what were your thoughts on how much this is going to take to fix this? Like, what did you tell your investors? Like, this going to cost this much?
So I think we initially budgeted for like 45 or 50, around 45,000 was our budget.
Okay.
On paper.
On paper, yeah.
We ended up spending about 55 to 60 on rehab.
Okay, not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Here's the thing though, once we got started, I knew what a hard money loan was, but I didn't know how it operated. So I was not familiar with the draw process. So we put essentially all our money in for down payment and getting to closing and all that kind of stuff. And then we're ready to start, getting the contractors in there and, getting the electricians to rewire the place. And I called the guy and was like, when am I going to get the check to pay the folks? And they're like, oh, you pay it and we pay you back.
Oh,
it was on a draw.
That's cold. That's cold.
Yeah. So I was thinking, well, that would have been good to know. But anyway, so, I mean, we just went into savings and retirement accounts and all that kind of stuff and pulled it out and got it done. And
so like, if it's your first time you're a hard money lender, first tell the people, like, from your knowledge, because I never used a hard money lender either. So in like the best way to explain it, what is a hard money lender to people who may not?
A hard money lender is someone who generally loans money for a shorter term. This is an institutional thing. Like, it's not like Cousin Joe around the corner.
Right.
It's an actual company, an actual business that loans money on a shorter term. So it'll be like, instead of a 30-year loan, you're talking like an 18-month loan type thing at a higher interest rate. And they'll fund pretty much everything except like 20% of the purchase price. Okay. So that's what they did. They were going to fund the rehab and everything, but I did not realize that we had to do the draw process for the rehab, which essentially means, they'll pay up to 80% of the purchase price.
Right.
Plus the full budgeted rehab, but you have to front the money for the contractors, and then they'll reimburse you along the way. Yeah.
So to me, that doesn't make sense for them to reimburse you. If I had the money in the first place, why would you need their money for the rehab?
Yeah. Well, because we weren't planning on digging into the savings.
Yeah, I know. I'm just assuming. I thought if it's hard money, they're gonna loan you the money up front to do the rehab.
Oh, for sure. That's what I thought too.
So is it certain questions you recommend people ask? Like say they somebody finna do a flip and they finna use the hard money. Like what questions that since you did one now, what questions would you like? All right, I'm gonna ask these questions up front.
Yeah. So the biggest question, besides the terms like the interest rate and the loan length of the loan and all that kind of stuff, the first question, the biggest question I'm asking is there a draw process, or will I get the rehab money up front? That's for sure. And then if we're doing the draw process, what's the turnover time between getting the inspector out to see how much you've done and then getting a check?
Okay.
And I also didn't know that every time you have the inspector come out to see how much you've done so they can write a check to reimburse you, it costs you $300 every time the inspector comes out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, knowing those things, I'm not going to use a hard money lender again, but it got me to the point where I'm at today, using private money, not having to do any type of draw process or anything like that. But it got the job done, and it gave me the confidence I needed. The house perfectly bird. I've got no money left in it. I got an $8,000 check at closing. It did what it needed to do.
Yeah, and what I take from it, if I was a private money lender, I would say, well, look, if he did it, like you got a track record now, you was able to get a deal with hard money, and close it and get it done. So a private money person, and say somebody in your family, like most people got somebody in their family that they thinking about helping this person out, but they scared because if you never really did in real estate, they don't think you really know what you're doing. So that deal, like now, all right, he did that deal, I should have got in on it. So going forward, the person will trust you.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to make less.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. So we got done with that one, and I had friends and family following along because ever since the transplant happened, people are always wanting to know, how are you doing and what's going on and this and that. So I was kind of updating people along the way, Facebook or Instagram or something. And when we got done and I was able to say, hey, here's what happened. Here's how we got it done. Here's our numbers. Here's what we made. And I put a simple post up, and this was, just a friends on Facebook. I put a simple post that said, if I could guarantee 12% interest on any money you would lend, would you be up for it? Yes or no? And I don't remember how many people responded or something, or I don't remember how many people looked at it, but out of the 2 people said yes. And both those people are capital money investors with us, or private capital investors with us.
Yeah. Off of Facebook. Look at that. Facebook.
Yep. That's
good. That's good.
All right. They're making money because, they had that money in like a bank account getting 2% or something. And, we pay 12% and we work it into our numbers, and they make out like bandits, and we do too.
So that's 12% annual on their money, right?
That's right.
Not bad. It's better than sending to Wells Fargo.
Yeah. And it's better than getting a hard money loan.
Right. So, all right, your lung transplant. How did that, like, that's a life altering, situation. So how do you think that like affected your life? How do you look at life as far as somebody who hasn't gone through anything? How do you think like you look at life?
That's a fantastic question. So I was at the point where, I was making sure that if I'm not around, everything is easy, like to switch over to everything in my wife's name. And, if something were to happen and I were not to make it, I was like making those calls to see like, okay, if, what do we need to do? I was reading books on grieving and how to deal with death and stuff like that. I mean, I was not well. I was at 17% lung function. So then I get the surgery, and then now on the other side of surgery, I feel fantastic. And I'm thinking, oh, I better get while the getting's good, right? And my perspective like is so much more focused and so much more optimistic and aggressive. And I don't know what the right word for it, but it's like life went from being black and white to being in color. And it's like, okay, well, I wish I wish everybody could experience this because, yeah, I mean, my perspective changed a lot.
No, I can see, because I'm trying to put that in perspective, like you said, from black and white to color. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't have to explain what that is. I get it. That's just like, I get it. But that's
it was like I can hustle now, so I'm gonna get out and get it, is what I did. And then in the midst of that, I was like, oh, what if something happens? Will I still be able to make do? And that's how I got into investing. Yeah.
Okay. And I also I see that you're doing the training for the triathlon. That's how you said?
Yeah. So I a little over a year after a double lung transplant, I did a triathlon. I remember saying one time before transplant, way back when I was not really able to do much, I was like, unless unless a triathlon involved eating, napping, and pooping, I'm not interested. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, I feel great. Well, what seems impossible? A triathlon. I'm gonna go do it. So
what does it consist of? I know I seen you were swimming, running.
I trained for 12 weeks and really had not swam at all since being a kid splashing around in the pool. Like, wow. Seriously, I hadn't swam probably since I was 12. So I had to learn how to do open water swims, and it was a 12-week training. And I had a goal of less than 2 hours. It was a sprint triathlon. I had a goal for less than 2 hours, and I think I got it under an hour and 45 minutes.
No, how long is it? What is it? How many miles you run?
So it's a 5K run. Well, first of all, it's a swim. It's a 400-meter swim, a 5K run, or a 400-meter swim, a 13-mile bike ride, or 15-mile bike ride, and then a 5K run.
Right. Okay.
And 400 meters doesn't sound like a long way to swim until you get out in open water.
It starts swimming.
You actually got to do it and not drown. But yeah, that was a big accomplishment. And part of the things I learned from that was, hard work done consistently and in chunks, like, digestible chunks, pays off. And, that's kind of the mindset I take with real estate too. It's like, I'm not going to get rich quick, but, I'm going to do consistent actions over time. And then 5, 10, 15 years from now, it'll pay off. And it turns out it's going to pay off before 5 years, but
it's I was listening. It's a guy. He was on Bigger Pockets, but I heard this twice. This I know is pretty good. But he was CEO of a company, but he said he tried to live 4 years in 1 year. So what the average person do in 1 year, they try to squeeze it into, I believe, like 3 to 4 months. And it's all about, like, say my goal this year is about 5 houses. All right, let's see, can we do that in 3 to 4 months? And you work that way. It is like, you might not get, complete the whole goal, but you'd be surprised how much you can accomplish, by just being focused and intention. And like, I've been like trying to kind of do that, because it's a high goal, but at the same time, it's a lot of time we waste by spreading stuff out so far,
For sure. I could not agree more. And, I'm using that same mentality now. So whenever we got this first deal done, I thought, if I can do, I had this goal, I had this wild goal after the first one. I was like, I would like, I did my numbers backwards, and I was like, man, we could really be living if we got like 70 units in 10 years.
Right.
I was like, man, if we can do like 70 a year, that would be awesome.
You did 19 in 10 months.
Exactly. So after the first one, I'm like, oh, well, I could do the same amount of work, is because I'm not out there hammering nails every single day. I can do the same amount of work, run my numbers the same way, and each deal be 14, 15, 20, whatever, and get that most of that done in like a year, 2 years, 3 years, instead of having to wait 7 years and 10 years. So, we just closed on a 14-unit apartment building and a single family house in the same transaction, owner financing, just hustling, knocking on doors, writing letters, owner financing, 90% owner financing, 0% interest, 5 years.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah.
That's congratulations, man.
Yeah.
What I was going to say, Oh yeah, first time dealing with contractors. Are you, you say you're not doing any of the hammering. How is it working? Because it's hard to find good contractors. So are you just going straight to the elite? How are you using your contractors?
Yeah, good question. So one of my longtime friends that I grew up with has a business in the area where he's kind of like a middleman between contractors and clients.
Right.
So he was my connection, and he connected me with everybody but the electrician. So I knew him, and he was huge in helping me find folks to get this thing fixed up, and not for like astronomical, prices, which right now, contractors are at a premium and all that kind of stuff. But still that's expensive. Even if it is a good friend who's connected me and all that kind of stuff, it's expensive. So since that first one, what I've done is my brother, who lived in Wyoming, working in a construction related field, I was like, look, here's what we're doing. Here's where we're going. You can make more money here, and I can save money with you. What do you say you join the business and move to Georgia? So in August, they moved to Georgia, and he's been in the single family house. We hope to have a tenant in there by November 1st. And we're going to move right on over to the 14 units and fix them up one by one. And, he's building a crew and he's doing it. So I'm trying to eliminate the middleman.
Nah, dang, that's good. And you, not only that, you're providing jobs for your own family. You're keeping the money somewhat, in the family. That's what, I like about real estate. It's hard, you can't my biggest thing is trying to make somebody in my family see, how like this is it, and you try to talk them into it. But it's good when you can, bring family members in, because it's like, you're putting the money together and you're keeping it in the family.
Yeah. And initially, I don't know that he understood quite the business model that we're going after. But I think he trusted me. And now that he's in it, I think he's starting to, his eyes are starting to get open to the possibilities of what real estate can provide.
Right.
And hopefully he'll be having his own rental portfolio here before too long, but we'll see. Hopefully.
Right.
We're getting there.
Right. So, all right. I say, how like when they put you to sleep before you finna have your lung transplant, and say like, God was whispering in your ear, like, Nolan, this is what you're supposed to do while you're on earth. This is what you're supposed to do while you're living. What would you think the words would have been? Like, what would he be saying?
Focus on what's important. Don't get bent out of shape about the things that are insignificant.
What would you consider important? What's important?
Relationships are important. Relationships are important. Things that are not important are noise. Things are not important. Facebook is not important. What people say on Facebook is not important. Now, don't get me wrong. I leverage Facebook for what I need.
Yeah.
But, if some random stranger says whatever, it's like, okay, whatever. I don't know you. I'm never going to meet you. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to focus my efforts on spending time with the people I love and doing whatever I got to do to spend more time with them.
Yeah, my wife, because I was putting out a lot of YouTube videos, but if I get one bad comment, she goes ready to respond. I'm like, I can never get famous. You can't respond to everybody, you know what I mean? Because one person feels some type of way. I mean, like you said, I don't even know who people are, but it doesn't bother me. But my mom and my wife, they'll come looking for your page,
I see, again, that stuff, when you come face to face with
life and death,
you realize that some things are worth fretting about and worrying about, and some things aren't. And that's just one of the things it's not.
Yeah. So as of right now, you got what you said, 18, 19 units?
19 units, yeah.
19 units. What like, I don't want to ask you what's your your goal in the next 5 years to get to in real estate, but like if you could live the perfect life, what's where are you trying to get to?
So I don't mind sharing what my goals are. My goals are 100 units in less than 5 years. Jeez. That's my goal now. And having the perspective that I had before, you know, being at 70, I think 70, now 100 units, I'm kind of second guessing myself, is like, oh, well, is that too low? You know, what should it be? But anyways, my goal right now, as of right now, it's 100 units.
Are you managing all the properties yourself?
No, so here, good question. So part of the real estate group that I'm a part of, you know, I'm an agent with Keller Williams, but the team that I'm on, Brittany Purcell and Associates, and then she has a sister company called Georgia Legacy Management. And that's a property management company. So I was kind of like right in the right place at the right time to be able to I started with the first property in property management because I knew that where I wanted to go would eventually involve property management because, you know, if I'm fishing in Colorado or, you know, whatever, I don't want to be getting phone calls. So I might as well go ahead and set that system up right now so that when it comes time to have a portfolio that's not manageable myself, that's already in place. That like infrastructure is already there. So yeah, I use property management.
So you say the money they charge you versus the cash flow you could be making, you would rather take, you know, because you would rather take the
100%, because my goals from the very beginning with real estate was what can I do in order to have income coming in if I can't do anything, right?
Right.
And if I'm having to go fix toilets or answer phone calls or whatever, like I can't do that if I'm sick or if I'm in the hospital or what, you know, who knows what might happen, right. But I can't do that. So I knew that I'm going to have to go ahead and set that up right now in anticipation of being too big to manage myself. So that's what I did. And it's so worth it.
No, definitely smart. Definitely smart. You actually just, you know, because now you don't really feel the effect. Like me right now, if I put all my property in product management, I'll be like, oh man, that's a lot of money they're taking.
Yeah.
But you started with it right off the back, so you're not really never missing anything.
Yep. Good point. Yep.
Yes. Okay. So, all right, you got the real estate now. Far as outside of real estate, mm-hmm. Like, do you do any other investing, or is just? And also, how do your school teachers that you used to work with, how do they feel about yours? I mean, you're pretty much a lot more successful than your counter, you know, co-workers was, but how do they feel about?
I've had people reach out. And, you know, say, you know, I'd love to be doing that, or, you know, how'd you get started or whatever. I've had a lot of people reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're inquisitive and curious, and I'm an open book. I would love to teach people to do what I'm doing because, you know, it's taken a lot of pressure off. Like, no, pressure is not the right word. I really enjoy what I'm doing, and I would love for other people to experience that too.
Yeah, but the thing you got to be careful with, in which I talk, because like, say I got my real estate license and I'm doing really good at real estate like you are. Other people might say, well, maybe I should get my real estate license and do the same thing. But I feel like, you know, everybody have a gift or a talent or a purpose, and it may be different. It's just all about discovering it, finding it. Because I think if everybody do real estate, well, who's going to be good at, you know, mowing the yards or fixing the contractors? Everybody can't, you know, this not everybody perfect. Because I was trying to preach everybody to do this too. But then I came to the conclusion, no, I think everybody should do what their purpose, like what they wake up every day, you know, like slobbing for. Like even when I was a mailman before I started doing this, like I'm pretty sure you know, but I woke up about real estate every day. Even though I was in a mail truck, you know, I'm still thinking about real estate. So it just makes sense. So I try to get people to find out what they think about every day, no matter what.
Yeah. I've recently questioned, when I'm excited about real estate and talking to people about details of the deal and this and that, I'm like, do they really care? They're not as into it as I am.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, for sure.
Yeah. But definitely, I think like people like us, we gotta like, I don't really have a lot of investor friends where I'm at. Most of the people are, they either like on the internet, they far away. Like, you know, I didn't go to the Bigger Pockets meetup, which I need to start going, because these are like-minded people. And I feel like it's such a like being around the right atmosphere. I think it'll uplift, you know, take us to that next level.
For sure. The bigger pockets guys say you are an average of who you surround yourself with.
Exactly.
So if you surround yourself with success and folks that are like-minded and supportive and enthusiastic, then you'll by default be that. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Like far as not just real estate, or like, what do you think the world need to make it a better place? Like just in general. Like, I mean, you see in color now. Some people still see in black and white. So just think, there's people out there still seeing black and white. You see in color. What would make this? Because to me, I'm like, this world is just. I'm not political or anything, but I'd be confused why certain things are happening. You know, like we need housing, we need paychecks. If you don't have these things, you're gonna have a lot of crime. You know, it's just like bounce off each other to me. But what do you think we need to make this world to come back to be like, you know, because my new American dream is like the world being so free and just like it's not just the old typical, you know, work somewhere for and be boring.
Yeah, that's a that's a tough question. I mean, I think it's a focused perspective. People lose perspective of what's important so often that they get distracted by things that shouldn't distract them. So I know that's a very Miss America answer, but focus in your perspective, knowing what's important to you and really digging into that and doing whatever it takes to make that the priority in your life.
Well, how are you accomplishing your like? What are some goal tips? Because how you accomplish your goals, you're blowing past them. So like, what are some things you do to accomplish your goals? Like,
Well, first of all, I define them.
right.
Because I don't think you can really go after something that you don't know exactly what you're chasing. So I define them and then I work backwards. So I know that if I'm wanting to be at 100 units in 5 years, then my average needs to be 20
Right.
units a year, right?
Yeah, right.
So how many contacts a month does it take me to get 20 units a year? Like how many phone calls a day do I need to make in order to get enough contacts? You know, so I work backwards. So, you know, my numbers that I've run, you know, I need to be making like 15 to 20 contacts a day somehow, some way, having to do with real estate. And I think at that point it'll work out. And so far it has. I mean, it's done better. But you know, I'm making a point to send a piece of mail to somebody at least 5 a day. I make it a point to make at least 5 phone calls. I make it a point to set up, you know, however many emails, you know. So I'm, you know, those are my achievable goals because I can't just go out and make, well, I mean, I guess you could, but you know, it's not practical to go out and just say, all right, today I'm going to go find 100 deals.
Or if you don't, you're unsuccessful, basically.
Right.
That's a lot of pressure.
So I make my success on what was I consistent with today. And it seems like the results just naturally follow.
Yeah, that's some comment, I think, because I do the same thing. I write the big goal down at the top, but I never look at it again. I always just do the homework. So the homework, like for me, I was never really a good test taker in school, but the homework, I'm gonna get 100 on. So,
yeah.
You know, I know I got a test up here, but I'm gonna just do all the homework and extra credit. Right. So that's like, you know, if I'm trying to get my grass to be green, I'm gonna mow it, I'm gonna fertilize it, and eventually, hopefully, it'd be green because that's what you're supposed to do to make it. You know what I mean?
That goes back to your comment where the biggest part is just showing up.
Yeah,
just showing up, sharpen that axe, and grind away.
Yes. Dang, this is crazy. It was some. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask this before we go. Is it anybody you think not alive that you maybe feel like you wish they could have? Maybe you could have, like say your parents told you about your great granddad or great aunt, and they maybe had some of the skills that you have that you wish you got to meet them.
Yeah. So So and my grandpa just passed away in December, right after we had bought our triplex. But he was, you know, in our town, you know, I live in Athens, Georgia. He was a builder with his brother back in the 50s and 60s and 70s.
Oh,
Now he knew that I was getting into real estate, and funny enough, I had actually shown some homes that he built. I showed homes to my clients that he had built back in the day, which was fun to tell him about. But he passed away a little bit before we got into investing, and my brother came and joined it. I think he would have got a chuckle out of seeing me and my brother Tyler in this business, kind of following in his footsteps. Not intentionally following his footsteps, but kind of naturally happened that, we're both in the real estate world, and my brother's doing the construction part. I'm doing the acquisitions part and the investing part. And, I think he would have got a chuckle out of that, but.
So do you think if he give you advice, you take it, right?
Oh, for sure.
So, what I do now, whenever I'm in like a squeeze situation where I don't know whether to go left or right, I think about people like him and I say, if they was alive still, what would they do?
Yeah. And his thing, I think whenever he passed away, and, folks I've talked to on things that he's been a part of, was that he was as honest and as humble as anybody they worked with. Like, sometimes you get a weird vibe from contractors.
Right.
Nobody ever got that about him. So that is something that I hope that my brother and myself both emulate in our business, and we'll take pride in carrying on that legacy.
So you said when he was humble, he didn't really go around telling people all the houses he built.
That's right. And he didn't charge people out of the ears for it either, from what I understand. He built a Christian school around here, as he donated his time and his everything to, making the town a little bit better.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. This is a good podcast. All right. These like the final 5 questions of the New American Dream podcast. So the first thing coming to your mind, you just blurt it out.
Yeah.
If you could spend a day with anybody, like pick their brain, go to lunch with, who would it be?
Ooh, Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. That's the first one right there.
It has nothing to do with real estate, but he was my first favorite player. I've met my second favorite player, Bobby Hurley. He was a point guard at Duke, the all-time NCAA assist leader, Duke, back in the 90s. I met him, but Larry Bird, I'd like to hear basketball stories from Larry Bird.
Man, I want to be on the wall because I know that he got some crazy stories back in that day. Yeah, dang, that's a good one. What'd you play? I'm gonna guess. Let me guess. You played point guard, shooting guard. You was known for shooting.
Point guard, yeah.
Point guard.
Yeah, I could shoot. I was never really a scorer. My strength was knowing where everybody was supposed to be on the court at any time, so I could facilitate things. Because when you get to college, I was 6 foot and weighed like 140 in college, and I'm playing against like 6'7" and 210. So
yeah,
I found my advantage by just knowing where everybody was supposed to be and like kind of just guiding things along like this should be.
I know this kind of shift, but like in basketball, see how you said your skill was knowing where everybody at on the court. You wasn't the fastest guy, you didn't say. You weren't the tallest guy, but you took your strengths and made it an asset.
Yep.
So I say, like, people are like, oh, you got in real estate because of this or that. No, I think everybody got to use your it's like your extra strength. Somebody might have a rich uncle. Some might have parents with a paid off house. It's a whole bunch. You got to use your strength. Like I played football, and I always tell people, like, I was really slow at cornerback, but I had 7 interceptions. So I would watch stuff like in high school. The wide receiver, if there's a run play, they're gonna be not too focused. They come out there lazy, but as a pass play, they come out like it's a pass play. So I had to use my skill because I wasn't that fast. So I had to pick up, like you said, on other things in order to, be able to compete.
Sure. There's tails and everything. I mean, you could use that perspective in real estate. How do you know which sellers are more prone to sell? Well, you can tell one by the shape of their property, and once you get to building a relationship with them, well, you understand why they let their property go. And then you realize, oh, this is somebody that's got a problem that I can help solve, so that translates.
I never did this before. This is like a sidebar. I just want people to see how good you are. I'm the seller, you knocking on my door, and I want to see how would you go? We're gonna, you know what I mean?
Okay, sure.
All right, go ahead.
No,
Ding.
no, no. Hey,
Hello.
George.
Hey
Hey,
there.
George. My name is Nolan Gottlieb. I'm a local real estate investor. And I'm around town driving around town. I see a lot of houses, and I've got a few houses myself. And I noticed that you've got a house like on 123 Main Street. And it seems like it's been vacant for a while. And it might, need some repairs. Is there a reason that you might have not been able to do those repairs?
Well, actually, the tenant just moved out, and I just haven't really had time to get around there. But I was thinking about selling, but at the same time, and I was talking to my wife, she didn't want to sell it. But yeah, we had a tenant, and they just got out last month, so it's just sitting right now.
Yeah. So are you guys managing tenants yourself? I guess you don't have property management. Is that right?
Yeah, no, that was the only house we had. We just managed it ourselves.
So are you guys looking to like build a portfolio, or are you looking to like get out of?
Oh, no. We're retired now. We're not trying to buy any more properties. We're done.
Okay. Well, so like I said, I'm a local investor, and I would love to like build my portfolio. So, I mean, if you're interested, I would be interested in taking a look at your house, and possibly buying it myself, cash. And if it's not something that works out for me, I would be glad to list it for you. But whatever works for you, I'm interested in the house, obviously myself. But based on what you guys are looking for, I'd be glad to help. Is that something that you'd be interested in?
Yeah, probably could. Probably could take a look at it.
All right. Well, I'm available tomorrow at 5. Is there any chance we could meet at the property?
Yeah, that'll work.
Awesome.
Dang.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm about to sell my house for real. but that's how the conversation be. It might be a lot of times I think it get more sidetracked about personal relationship, other than about the relationship. But when you're trying to talk to somebody who owns, because if you in front of the seller, you have the best and the number one spot to get the house.
Yeah.
Once you got relatives involved, it's all business now.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it takes a lot to get to the point that we just role played.
Right.
Right. Usually they don't answer the door.
Right.
Usually it takes, handwritten cards and then a call saying, "Hey, this is Nolan Gottlieb. I'm the one that wrote the cards to you. Were you able to take a look at those? Hopefully you got them." And then it's like, okay, well, how about I'm going to be in the neighborhood tomorrow. Do you mind if I stop by?
Yeah.
So there's a process. It's not just knocking on the door.
Right. And also I would say the seller, no, what I was going to say, the seller is trying to sell the property. What I was thinking about, you said.
And usually the sellers are super skeptical of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, this is what I was going to say. My biggest mistake was when I first started, trying to find real estate deals, I was on Facebook. Anybody trying to sell a property, call me, do this. And you got to realize nobody on Facebook, I mean, not nobody, but people on Facebook are not the homeowners. Everybody I bought homes from are 55 plus majority of the time. And they're not even on Facebook. So I realized, when you get the chance to talk to landlords, like you said, the number one question he asked was, do you have a portfolio? Because that go to tell you right then and there how much real estate they're in. Are they going, like most people, if they over 55, they really not trying to go up. They trying to have an easy life, so all them questions are like, so you can know, which way to go. Because you use an agent too, you can still sell it. It's like, you got a bunch of ways to go.
Yeah. For sure. Writing cards and whitepages.com membership, $5 a month are my best friends. Not Facebook. It is cards and phone calls.
That's work.
Yeah.
All right. Best book that kind of changed your life.
Ooh, well, this is cliche, but Rich Dad Poor Dad really opened my eyes to what real estate investing could be.
Right.
I'm currently reading the Multifamily Millionaire, Volume 2. Brandon Turner from Bigger Pockets and
David Green.
Yeah, David Green.
Yeah.
They David, I can't remember the other author, but anyways, it's co-authored by Brandon Turner. And
Right.
the one that is talking about the bigger multifamily, I'm hearing and reading things in there that are like, I didn't know, like syndications and all that kind of stuff. I didn't know anything about. So I'm really enjoying that right now, kind of opening my mind to what could be.
Could be.
Yeah.
Brandon Turner's the smartest man on earth. I said
I've
it.
I've learned so much about real estate investing, driving to and from appointments, listening to Bigger Pockets.
Yeah, definitely. A life motto you live by.
Oof. Gosh, I don't have a motto, but I invest in people that I love, and I live every day as if I'm not guaranteed tomorrow.
Wow, that's good. Oh man, if you could live in any state forever, what state would it be?
Colorado.
Yeah,
I love hiking. I love fishing. I feel like I would love skiing, but I haven't been.
yeah.
I feel like, and I love the mountains. So
Yeah.
I think that's my sweet spot.
Man, you know, I went to Colorado maybe a couple years ago. We went to not Brink Ridge. It was maybe like an hour outside of Denver, but we stayed in a cabin, and the people, you know, they have these books. You need to get in the Airbnb too, but we'll talk about it later. But they had a book in the Airbnb where you write, you know, how your trip was. So it's the last day. In the place where we stayed at, it's all windows, so you can see the smoke in the mountains. I can't remember what mountain, but the mountain you can see it's best view ever. Yeah. And the people wrote in the book, like I guess they stayed up right before we did, but they put 1 year from today we will buy. You know, we're gonna sell out. We're gonna go back home, sell our business, and we're gonna move to Denver, Colorado. I was like they made it point blank. I bet, you know, they said it like, you know, go back home, sell our business, and we're moving here.
I for sure get that. I look at houses in Durango, Colorado on Zillow.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Denver, I love, man. Colorado, I had so much fun up there. I would definitely, I like Colorado, and I don't know if you've been to Tennessee, Gatlinburg.
Yeah, it's just right up the road.
Yes,
Smoking.
man.
Yeah.
Them both of them are spots, man. I love them. It's like it's the energy, like in Colorado, it's different. Like one thing I noticed is, I don't know if it's not the people not uptight, but like they had the people at the cash register might have not black, but men had nails on their polish or big old earrings in their ear. And it wasn't like people were judging nobody. It was just like, I ain't gonna say hippie, but it felt like, you know, everybody was free. Be yourself.
There's a different vibe out there for sure.
Yeah, it's different. Okay, last question.
We should meet out in Colorado and go fishing sometime.
Oh man, we're gonna set it up. All right. For the old American dream is, you know, you'll still be a science teacher and you probably retire at 60, and then you'll maybe travel to Colorado once a year with your wife. What is your version of the new American dream now that you're not a school teacher?
New American dream is to, in 5 years, have money not be an issue for anything and be able to just do the things we really, really love doing. Which is traveling and spending time with family and friends all over the country.
Yes. You're going to have to start a YouTube channel.
Unfortunately, I've got a face for radio, so I don't know.
Oh, all right. We ain't gonna put this on YouTube. We're gonna just put it out. All right. But no, Nolan, let the people know if they want to reach out, you know, to find out more information about you. What's the best way to contact you?
Gotcha. So I'm on Facebook, Nolan Gottlieb, and on Instagram, Nolan G20. And then just recently, I have started a business page, which is, I don't know if you can read this, Gottlieb Properties.
Gottlieb Properties.
Gottlieb Properties. So Instagram and Facebook for that too.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it for you for coming on.
Yeah, George, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you.